Welcome to another edition of Center Court. I'm your host, Alex Meacham. So this week we decided to leave Anderson Township and we're down here at Cincinnati Fitness Boxing. The owner, Kevin Brinkley, is kind enough to let us in CFB and teach us a little bit about the sport of boxing and the parallel between boxing and the sport of basketball. So let's go on in, meet Kevin.
Alex Meacham. What's up, man? It's good, brother.
Good. Thanks for having us in here.
Oh, no worries.
All right, let's go. Let's hang out. Welcome to Center Court. Today, we are in the center of the ring at Cincinnati Fitness Boxing, CFB, with the owner, Kevin Brinkley. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Happy to have you here today and happy to talk some basketball and boxing.
Cool. Now, our viewers, this is a basketball-specific show. But I thought it was important that our viewers understood the parallel between boxing and basketball. And from our conversations, I think there are a lot. And I think it's good for us to educate, our audience. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with boxing?
How I got involved with boxing was pretty much most of my life. I've been into martial arts, kickboxing, boxing, kung fu, even weapons fighting, like from the Philippines. So I was pretty much a junkie for it. Anything I could get my hands on, anything I could train in, I was training in.
Right.
And then as I got older, I started to see some pretty cool parallels between the organized sports I was playing, football, rugby, track, things like that, and the training that I was doing for boxing and martial arts. And I kind of felt like I almost had an advantage over the other athletes because I was doing these martial arts and they weren't. They were just doing sport-specific.
So your movements
yeah.
on the other field?
Yeah, the strength, the coordination, the ballistic or explosive strength and coordination that came out of the martial arts. I was playing outside linebacker in football, but also punting because I had a pretty good kick from the martial arts that I was studying.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what area did you grow up in?
Just north here, Springfield, so about an hour north here.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's talk a little bit about basketball and boxing and how the two kind of have similarities. So you just started to learn a little bit more about basketball recently, working with a young man named Tyler.
Yep, Tyler Haddon was a young man that I actually hooked up with through Shining Star Sports a few 2 years ago, and he started working with us in the off seasons and had some pretty sport-specific training that we wanted to do with him. So yeah, I kind of went hardcore into learning basketball, got pretty heavy into it, was hitting your ear all the time like, Alex, what do you call this, or how do you do that?
Right.
And then just kind of started to draw some parallels between the two sports, and it's really interesting. A lot of the things that we preach in boxing and focus on, things like control over your hips, not letting your upper body get swayed one way or the other over top of your feet, or quick feet, but not letting your feet lead you, keeping your hips over top of your feet, were things that were very important in basketball and made a difference in Tyler's game.
Sure. Now, I saw you at a St. X basketball game.
You did.
When I was out scouting, I saw you watching Tyler, and you had your little notepad. You were taking notes, and we'll show a little bit later your notepad and all your notes with Tyler. So what were some of the things you worked on with him? And he's a pretty tall guy.
He is, yeah. Tyler's a 7-footer, as you know,
right.
who likes to shoot. So he's kind of a unique athlete and an asset to the team in that way. But some of the things that we identified and we wanted to work on specifically with him was the foot speed. Anytime you get a young man, in the high school age, getting ready for college, that's that tall, you probably want to work on a little bit of foot speed and coordination. So those are some things that we wanted to touch with him. In addition, we wanted to work on coordinated strength. And what I mean by that is we could have Tyler being the strongest kid in the weight room, best bench, best squat, and all of that, but it's not really going to do us any good if he doesn't have control over it on the court.
Sure.
So we wanted fast feet, but in addition, we wanted very good controlled strength. We also wanted to work on his aggressiveness. As a 7-footer, we wanted Tyler to be attacking a little bit more in the paint, attacking the rim, going after the rebounds. I wanted him to be dunking. I wanted him to be putting it down with regularity. So.
And it's amazing how quickly the things that you said in regards to Tyler are the things that a lot of people with a lot of basketball knowledge see, and you pick that up very quickly. Not being really a basketball guy.
You should see me play basketball, Alex. It's
not good.
It's embarrassing.
I can imagine. Yeah, man. So, but no, you picked up the things pretty quickly, and you know what he needs to work on. The great thing is Tyler's now going to Belmont,
Yep.
and he's a freshman, and I honestly
Go
think,
Bruins, right?
right. But I honestly think that the work that he did with you in here really helped him confidence-wise, and helped him, get to the next level, and is really going to benefit him at Belmont. And so, some of the things that we're going to do today, and you're going to show me demonstration-wise, I think, are the things you worked with Tyler on.
Absolutely, I'd love to take you through some of the drills that we did with him. I actually kind of, because you mentioned it, I had my notebook out taking notes on what he needed to work on with basketball, so we kind of had to just adapt some of the training that we do here in boxing to be more basketball specific. So all of the drills that we did with Tyler were very unique, kind of had to think outside of the box, so I think you'll get a kick out of some of it. We did one where we'll actually have me in the body shield, and we would have Tyler full wraps and gloves, and he would be throwing body shots at me, just straight punches, keeping his hands active, but the whole time I'm going to be moving on him. I'm going to be moving in an arc pattern, side to side, and the objective for him is to stay between me and what would essentially be the basket, or my goal. Stay between me and the goal. We use the corner of the ring for that goal. And then and keep the punches going, but keep his feet active and keep his hips squared. Stay on balance. Don't let me get you off balance. And then additionally, I would add in some elements like jumping, as if I was going for a jump shot. The second that he sees or feels me load, he needs to get his legs loaded and get up to contest that shot.
Sure.
We also
you got all the basketball terms down too.
I'm working on it, man.
Yeah, that's good.
It's you, Meach. I always ask you, like, hey, man, what do you call it when someone?
Right.
We also did a drill to work on his post defense, a thing that you taught me, where I'll take an empty keg and set it upside down, and we'll put a Swiss ball on top of it, and the objective is for me to knock that Swiss ball off the keg. Now, Tyler doesn't want to let that happen, or the person doing the drill doesn't want to let that happen. So we'll actually, today we'll be giving you an arm shield, like we would use in catching kicks in kickboxing. And you'll just be using that arm shield to stay between me and the target, keeping your hips active, keeping your feet underneath you, and not letting me get you overcommitted one way or the other. On a side note, just got to warn you ahead of time, I know you're pretty strong. Every time I knock that ball off, it's 10 push-ups.
Okay.
That gets old quick. So.
Right. I think I can handle that. But the one thing, when I played basketball at the University of Cincinnati, the one thing that I needed to have at a high level playing there was confidence. And I don't care what sport you play, if it's soccer, football, confidence is the key. And I really wish back in 1997 that I would have met you and been at a place like this to learn this discipline and build confidence through the sport of boxing that would have in turn helped me in the game of basketball. Because I played with pros. Kenyon Martin, Ruben Patterson, Steve Logan, Melvin Levitt, these guys went on to play in the NBA and in high levels. So I couldn't come in there as a 5'11", 152-pound weakling. And I didn't have the confidence I needed. But I feel like a lot of kids in the Cincinnati area, if they had an opportunity to experience this, that would help their confidence. Now, the problem you deal with is when kids hear boxing, they immediately go, I'm not getting punched in the face. So take us through, if there was a kid out there that wanted to get involved with this to help him with his basketball game, just take them through coming here and how it's not maybe what they envision it being.
Yeah, basically what we're trying to do is to take the science that goes into creating a great fighter, all of the training principles, the coordination, the strength, and apply it to others. So we're not actually asking someone to fight unless they get to the level where they decide that that's part of their training, is what they want to do. But basically, we would bring them in, we teach them the basics, how to wrap your hands, we teach them the stance that we use in boxing, we teach them our first couple punches, because those are things that we will be using in the training. But we don't expect that they would be sparring or anything like that with the instructor. Most of the time, any of the punches or kicks that we would be throwing, the person training with us would be throwing at us, not anything that we would be throwing at them. No.
Right.
But as the training progresses, that can become part of one of the tools that we use. For instance, with Tyler, you were talking about the confidence. One of the things we wanted to do was to get him a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more, confident in his movement. So we came up with a scenario of, okay, we're going to put him in a situation where he needs to be a little more aggressive, but he needs to be able to rely on his feet to kind of control that aggression. So we created a training protocol for him where he actually was sparring, but he was comfortable with it. Obviously, we approached him and his parents,
Sure.
and we put him in the ring with 2 other individuals. So it was 2 versus 1, and Tyler had to use his feet to get free from both the people and not get cornered. And in addition, he had to remain aggressive because as he was striking one of them, that would back them off, and we have to quickly adjust and attack the other one. But,
And let me touch on something you just said with footwork. Footwork is so key in basketball. You know, whether you're on offense or you're on defense. A lot of times when you watch a player, I don't know if you watched Allen Iverson growing up, but he's the king of the crossover.
Oh, yeah.
But what most people don't know is Allen Iverson's footwork was so good, it didn't matter what he did with the basketball. You were going to get caught out there and crossed over because his footwork was so good. He'd take you one way, and you'd commit that way, and then he would cross it back and step. And that was all footwork.
Yeah.
It wasn't what he was doing with the basketball. So when you talk about learning the footwork here in proper balance, that ties into basketball so much.
oh yeah, boxing is all about position. Fighting is all about position. So footwork is the most important element in everything that we do. If you and I are boxing, if I can use my feet to gain an advantageous position on you, I'm going to win. So I'll take footwork training any day. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that I really love about the sport of boxing is the history of it, and there's just so many cool quotes. And when you think about boxing, it's just you think about tough people, and you just tell the people some of your favorite boxers and maybe some of your favorite quotes.
Yeah, well, I like to always look back at Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
The man could move, he had great feet, he had great hands, and I like the way that he approached the sport because he would often say things like he wasn't interested in beating someone else up, he wasn't interested in trying to hurt another person, but he loved boxing because he would like to outthink and outmaneuver his opponent.
That's interesting. People don't think of boxing like that all the time.
They think of the punches that they see, and they don't realize there's so much more going into it. It's a chess match.
Yeah.
It really is. Of course, Ali. I love Ali's quote where he says that the fight is won far away from the lights. And forgive me, I'm not going to get these perfect, but essentially saying that it's in training where you win the fight. It's in your preparation and all that work that you put in, all the miles that you run, all of the extra minutes you put in at the gym. That's really where the fight or the game or whatever is won. That when you come to actually get into the ring, everything's already decided. It's just a matter of execution at that point in time.
Let me touch on Ali real quick,
Yeah.
because we could say that Ali and Michael Jordan are 2 of the most well-known athletes in the world and possibly the greatest athletes of all time. I was fortunate enough to watch Michael Jordan in the beginning stages and also the prime of his career. I didn't get to see Muhammad Ali, but speak on maybe Muhammad. What made him great? What were the things, because if you look at Michael Jordan, you slice him and look at his heart, his confidence, his brains. Was that how Muhammad Ali was? What were some of the things that made him great?
Yeah, I would say determination is definitely one of them. Muhammad Ali wouldn't give up, and I don't mean in the ring. I mean in training. He would punish himself, and one of the best quotes from Muhammad Ali. I said, "Don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion." So in that weight room and working the ring, working mitts, working the bag, whatever it was, he was putting 110% into every single practice, and that was very important. Another thing was his movement. Muhammad Ali moved unlike a lot of other heavyweights at the time. So
Right.
because of his footwork, because of his advantage in linear movement and side-to-side movement, he was able to trick and frustrate a lot of other boxers. So I think that's definitely something that goes into what made him great. And then, like you mentioned before, confidence. Muhammad Ali came in with a game plan. He knew how he was going to frustrate or outthink the other opponent, and he was confident in all the training and all the hard work he put in. So that showed in the ring.
Sure. And let's tie basketball back into this. So with Muhammad Ali, you talked about that preparation. You talked about that game plan. But there's also one piece of it. When the fight happens, you have to improv.
Oh, yeah.
And he was famous for the rope-a-dope, right?
Yeah.
Now that wasn't something I believe that his people on his corner wanted him to do. Is that correct? That was something he kind of...
Yeah, that's there's a couple sides to that. It's kind of debated, but I would say that that's definitely a good estimation. Is that he went into it, he felt it, and that's what you're doing in fighting in any sport. You're kind of we don't want necessarily our fighters thinking. We want them feeling. You want your athlete feeling and reacting. You want them to be so conditioned through the practice and the training that it's just kind of the animal instinct that comes out when they go into the ring or they go onto the court or whatever it would be for their competition. So in that moment, he felt it. He felt his opponent overworking, throwing big, and so like history shows, it just kind of came out that he's okay. I'll cover up, I'll move, let him overwork, and just come out strong in later rounds.
And so you look at the game of basketball, and basketball teams practice. It's all about that repetition.
Yeah.
And then they come up with a game plan. So prior to a game, so if you've got a high school team playing another high school team on a Friday night, they both most likely would have scouted the other team.
Sure.
They know their opponent's strengths, weaknesses, where they like to go, and they come in with a game plan. However, when you have a game plan, the game of basketball in a lot of ways is improv. So you're improving within a script. And I feel like boxing has the same thing happen a lot. And like with Muhammad Ali, you've got to learn to improv, and you can't always think, you have to react.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that is very important is intuition. And intuition are athletes, intuition are fighters. And what I mean by that is you can actually train, you said, practice. You actually, in those practices, the reason that you're doing those plays over and over again, the reason that you're throwing the punches or working a certain movement over and over again, is so that you can develop your body's natural intuition. So that when you're placed in that kind of a situation again, your athlete, your fighter, whatever, will be able to respond without having to go through the mental processes necessary to compute, think, analyze, and react. They're just in the reactionary phase already. So there's a lot of science behind how you can train intuition, and that's why you do the repetitious drills in practice, is to build that intuition in your athletes so that they can just, they're comfortable with improving on the spot.
Sure. So back to quickly the footwork.
Yeah.
With footwork, shoes in the ring. So shoes, people know now by this episode. Yeah, I got some pretty cool shoes on.
Dude, they see those
today. These are my Jordans here.
Jordans.
Now I wore these specifically, for this interview because these kind of look like boxing shoes. You feel like that?
They do. Yeah.
Pretty cool. So I know a lot of the boxers, they have the higher cut. Yeah, and that's for the footwork, the ankle support.
As far as our shoes go, when you're doing boxing or something like that, what you're looking at is you want a low sole. You don't want a running shoe will have a lot of cushion underneath of it, so it can impact the blow of you running. But when you go to plant and move side to side, that's going to give you a lot more room to move side to side. So basketball shoes are actually great for boxing because they give you a lot of tertiary support for your lateral movement. Just like in basketball, when you plant to turn, you don't want your foot to slide at all.
Right.
You want your shoe strong. So it's going to have a flat sole. It's going to have a lot of support on the sides for you to pivot and move. And your shoes should be great today, man.
Sure.
And they look good.
Yeah, that's right. Half of it's style. Jerry Rice, the greatest wide receiver of all time, talked about looking good.
Yeah.
You've got to look good in order to play good. But one of the things, speaking of looking good, this facility you have here, I mean, it's beautiful. When most people that I bring here for the first time and they walk through these doors, they're just like, wow, this is really cool. It has, the flavor. And so 4 years?
Yeah, we've been here 4 years, my man. This building's been here a lot more than 4 years, though.
I'd say so.
It was originally built as a steel mill, actually, over 100 years ago. And so it's got a lot of character. This was the warehouse portion of the steel mill. So we've got everything from the huge wooden beams up top to a full-size train door in the back and everything. So it's the perfect kind of training facility. We're close to downtown, we're close to the highways, quick access to the roads. And also it gives us the space and to be able to have all of our equipment here. And the structure is strong enough to be able to support, hundreds of pounds of bags. And we've got one bag that weighs over 400 pounds in the back.
Right, I've hit that bag before. Yeah. So one thing I want to do is I'd like for you to take me through some of these things that you took Tyler through.
Yeah, I'd love to show you some of the drills, man. We'll get you wrapped up, get you in some gloves, and let me just take you through some of the work that I did with Tyler that kind of marries the sport of basketball and the sport of boxing.
Now we have one thing though.
What's that?
So if I could have my shirt.
Oh man.
My
you gonna put the beaver
my assistant
on?
Jordan. I've been coming here for 4 years and.
You've been here since we opened, right?
Yep, been here since you've opened. And I always wear a Justin Bieber t-shirt when I come in and box. And it gives,
You gotta look good, right?
You have to look
good.
And you have to be tough.
Yeah.
And you have to work extremely hard if you wear a Justin Bieber t-shirt. You don't want anybody to think you're soft.
Yeah.
wearing a Bieber shirt. You
that.
with me on that?
I can see that.
Are you a believer?
I don't know that I'm a believer. I believe that you look silly in that, so you better work hard.
All right, let's get to work.
Let's do it, man.
All
Let's
right.
hit it. Pull your fingers together so I can slide this off. I'm making you a little pad right there. It's gonna go on your knuckles. Protect your knuckles. Come around your wrist to hold that pad in place. Make a fist. How's that feel?
Good.
Ready for destruction?
Yeah.
All right.
Knock somebody out.
Like Cool J. Feeling warm? Feeling loose?
Yep, good.
Feeling good?
Good.
So Meacham, one of the things that Tyler needed to work on was getting off of a box out, right?
Right.
And so I talked to some of his coaches. I actually asked you about this a while back, was what are some of the ways that you can get out of a box out? What are the best ways? And Tyler being a taller guy, people were getting under him and managing to keep him, away from the rim. And so we started to work on a spin move for him.
Right.
And we wanted to speed his feet up during the spin move. And after talking to all the coaches, I kind of noticed that the spin move, the footwork was very similar to the footwork that we do for our spinning back fist.
Okay.
So you and I were fighting, and I was going to throw a spinning back fist. I won't hit you, but I'm going to show you. Essentially, it would look like this. Spin and hit you with the back of my fist, okay? The footwork for that is crazy similar to the footwork for getting around a box out, right? So I taught Tyler a spinning back fist, and we drilled it until he was wicked good at it. So essentially, all you're going to do is turn that left foot heel to me, let the right hip come up and follow it around. You're going to bring a spinning back fist with your right hand into this target right here, all right? Go nice and slow your first time. Heel to me, on around, pop. You got it, you got it. Square back up. Good. Now turn that heel nice and hard all the way around. Go slow.
So you want the heel all the way like
heel
that?
to target. Yep, all the way around. There you go, and then let that heel come right, or that foot come right back up to bring you on around.
Square back
Right,
up.
yep, got it. Heel to target. All around. Ah, there you go. You're feeling it, right? All right, scoot back a little bit. Now we're going to speed it up. Slow on that first foot. Give me that fast foot. Give me that fast foot. Make it money. Woo! There it was. Give me another one. One more. One more. Ah, that's my man. Now watch this. You're getting boxed out, right? Do the same footwork. Boom. Oh, where did it take you? Right around your opponent, right? So we just had Tyler work on spinning back fist side to side.
Right, so he can't get boxed out, he gets the rebound.
Can't get boxed out,
Right.
Can we compare these? This is so that no one steals your gear. This is so that you can feel awesome.
And nobody steals your gear.
Look at that. Money Beach. All right, so let me show you the drill that I did with him with the body shield.
Okay.
Love this drill for Tyler. It's a great drill for footwork, great drill for reaction. Pull up bar.
I guess I should have moved back.
Okay. You what?
I guess I should have moved back.
You sure you don't want to try it?
I'm sure. I appreciate it though, man.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, I just don't have the right gear.
I mean, we can get him a
I am
beef
stretched
shirt.
out.
You what? You want a beef shirt?
I'm gonna pass.
Okay.
I like him.
Okay.
We wanted to toughen Tyler up a little bit in the paint. And so I came up with this drill. It seemed a little crazy at first, but it worked perfect. And it's actually kind of fun. It wears me out a little bit too. So behind you have one of our training kegs that we use for training weights and things like that. And on top of it's a Swiss ball, okay? And in your arm, you have an arm shield. Now my goal is this. Every time I do that, you got to do 10 of this. All right?
Gotcha.
Now I see you got some guns on you, so you might not mind the first 2 or 3 times, but I keep hitting this. It's going to get old quick.
Right.
All right?
Do
What
you
I'm
do
going to
this
be
for
doing.
time, or do you do it?
We do this for time. We would do it for 3 minutes, just like a boxing round.
Gotcha.
As many times as I can get in 3 minutes, and then he would take a 1-minute break. We started with 1 session, and by the time we finished training with Tyler, we were doing it for 4 or 5. So
Cool.
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, sounds like it.
What I'm going to be doing is backing into you this whole time, right? All I'm trying to do is work my way around you to get to that ball. Now you let me get close enough and I'll reach around you again, right? So you got to keep strong in your hips. There you go. And I'm going to work you side to side. You don't want to overcommit to any direction, but you got to stay over top of your hips, right?
Gotcha.
Go ahead.
It's one time.
That's 2. That's 3. So what you might have felt there was that you got punchy with your arms, right? But you let your hips get some space on. And when I get space on the hips, I can get around a person a little bit easier. So So we wanted to stay real tight and real close. One of the things Tyler worked on was pulling that into his body, keeping his body on me as opposed to his arms on me. So let's try it again. Pull that shield in a little bit tighter.
So a little like this?
Yeah, pull right up against you. There you go. And then use your hips to drive against me. Now there's not that big separation, right? There you go. Feel how square your legs are, how light you have to be on your feet. You gotta be able to react. You driving me out. If I charge too much, there you go. Good, good. And then if I try you, right there. Look at that. You stay right on.
10 push-ups.
No. It's only when I knock it off.
Oh!
Like that. No, man. Don't do those 10 push-ups. Let's get over there and do the bar.
Okay.
Let's do some bars.
All right, let's go.
Let's hit it.
Ready?
I'm tired already. I ain't done. The most important thing in this corner, though, is this right here. This tool is what I use to teach the basketball players to attack and to not be afraid of failure and to go for it. So I use this quote by Roosevelt that basically says that the credit doesn't belong to the critic. The credit belongs to the person who's actually in the arena going after it. And that even if they fail, at least they fail while attempting something great. Not, like the people that never know victory and never know defeat, they just sit on the sidelines their whole life. So the entire time that we're training back here, I use this as a reminder that even if you fail while going after it, it's okay. Sure. Right? And you can entirely change the outcome of a game. Even if you miss a dunk, you got a big guy that goes after it, that attacks the rim for a rebound or attacks the rim for a dunk, you know that the other team's going to start to change the way that they play that person, right? So you're influencing the outcome of the game even with a failure.
Sure.
Right?
Do you always keep this here?
Always. That's always there. Yep. The only reason it's not in permanent marker is because I'm worried I would misspell something. I have to redo it.
Every guest that comes on our show has to sign the basketball. All right, so there's some good players on here now.
Yeah.
But now we're about to take this basketball to the next level.
About to up its game.
Up the game, baby.
Take it to the fight game. Anywhere?
Anywhere you'd like. Now also, every guest that comes on, we always ask them a Jay-Z question. Let me preface this. When I come into boxing, and I come here Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5:30 a.m., and also on Saturday at 10 a.m., there's usually Jay-Z blasting here, and that's one of the reasons I love coming in here. Kevin and I really vibe on Jay-Z and his lyrics. So usually I ask somebody a tough Jay-Z question, but I'm gonna take a different angle with this one.
All right.
I'm gonna ask you, what's your favorite Jay-Z song and why?
Oh, that's a good question. That's easy. Yeah. My favorite Jay-Z song's got to be my first song. I love
Off the Black album.
Off the Black, the best album he's made. Come on, man.
Yep, one of the best.
The best. But
I love the Blueprint, but go ahead.
Yeah. But no, man, just the beat and the flow is sick. It feels good. It's something you can listen to and it really kind of gets you motivated. But then what he's saying is even more powerful. Plus, he got big on it, right? I mean,
He did.
but like, just treat everything like it's your first. Treat everything like it's your last. And when we train athletes, we treat every athlete like they're a professional, making millions of dollars because everybody has that potential in them.
Right.
And everybody that comes in here to train, we treat them like they're the president of the United States because everybody deserves that.
Sure.
It doesn't, people aren't any different just because of who they are or what they've accomplished. We all have that potential in us. So I love that with Jay-Z's message in that song. Like, so man, my first song, that's the song right there.
He does his Jay-Z. That's what I appreciate about him. So tell everybody where they can go online to learn more information about CFB.
Oh yeah, cool. We're on Facebook, Cincinnati Fitness and Boxing. Just search for us. We're on Twitter, CFB Fit. I know you tweet back and forth with me quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're taking my parking space. We gotta talk about that.
Don't park in Kevin's spot. You gotta learn it, or you gotta bring the groceries.
Carrying the groceries. Yep. But also on our website, CFB Fit, CFBFIT.com. It's got our schedule and all that information on there. So, and if anybody's interested in training with us for, athlete cross training, we do teams, we do individuals, all kinds of fun stuff. So
cool. We want to thank Kevin for coming on center court, and we were in the center of the ring today and learned a lot about the parallels between basketball and the sport of boxing. So we hope everybody enjoyed this episode, and we'll check you next episode.